This is going to be a brief introduction video to probability and deterministic programming on the deluge sequencer. To show these features, we're going to use a simple one-measure pattern. The sound source for this demo is a Freeform Analog Technologies FB383, otherwise known as the Freebase. It's used for its very basic simple sounds without any effects added. First, I'll find an octave that I want to make this pattern in. We'll play around. This one's a little high, move it down lower. Maybe another octave. No, back up to the higher one. We're going to make this pattern in the key of C, so I'm going to end in the root here, add as an 8th note. Each column is a 16th note. We'll start out at the 16th note as well. And we'll have some variety in the middle. To keep it simple, I'll have just 16th notes with 16th rests in between, just a few notes that we'll have to demonstrate the feature. This row in the center, we'll make that the deterministic row, so we'll give a little note to try as a placeholder. We'll end up our pattern with 2 high notes. And playing around with the sound, we can make it cooler. So you get the basic idea. We're going to have a rising pattern at the beginning, some deterministic in the middle, and ending on the higher notes before it starts over again. This deterministic row is where we're going to add variety to the theme. We'll take out all the other notes around that deterministic column just to make it more audible. We'll have a possibility ending up here and 2 others. And find out which's going to sound good. How about that? It's going to have any one of these 3 notes play each time it goes through the pattern. So the bottom one, we'll program that as being a 1 of 3. Next one up is a 2 of 3. And the top one will be a 3 of 3. And the of 3 means times through the loop. So it'll go 1, 2, 3. That's the idea there of the deterministic pattern. Now we're going to add some interesting things that we talked about earlier. A little ramp up, a little variety, and end up at the 2 high notes. It sounds okay. It's only got a variety in the very center column. That's the deterministic part. Now we'll move on to probability. The theme has the ramp up at the beginning and then ending up at the high notes. So we'll make a variation of that idea. As an alternate, we might want to go down at the beginning and end up with some lower notes instead of the high notes. One way of using the probability programming is that in each column, if the 2 values of percents equals up to 100%, then it's a 100% chance that a note will play in that column with the probability based upon the 2 values that you choose. In this case, I'll use 70% and 30% to equal to 100%. So I want the dominant theme to be rising. I'll make the lower one 70% and then the alternate theme 30%. I'll make this 70%. And we'll make this one 30%. And you can hear it. Now to complete our pattern, I want it to come down at the first. And since I wanted the patterns to be consistent, one or the other, I will then use a feature of linking so that any 70% is linked to the first value that was chosen in the first column of 70 or 30%, and it will follow through for the rest of the pattern. That would have a dot after the percentage in the display. So this one will be a 70 dot. Likewise, I want to make this one a 30 dot to link it to the first 30% determination. Do a couple more of our alternates. So when we ramp down, we want to end the lower ones, these two here. Make these 30% dot on both of these lower ones, and the 70 dot on the upper one. So now when we're doing the 70% rising, we'll go through these two and end up on these upper two, and occasionally when it hits the 30% it'll go down and then end up on the lower two, with deterministic in the middle. And we'll play around with the sound. And there's the example of basic deterministic and probability programming on the deluge. Next video, we'll take this to the next step of making this more complex with other instruments.